So I'm going to call us the Nashville MTA Board meeting to order. And first on the agenda, I will do a roll call. Jeff Haynes.
Here.
Jessica Dobbin.
Present.
Ron Thompson.
Present.
And Gail Carr-Williams, present. If I can next have approval of the September 25th MTA Board minutes.
Motion to approve MTA Board minutes from September 25.
Here's a motion. Is there a second? Any discussion? Additions, deletions? Hearing none, I will call for the vote. All those in favor say aye.
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 We have minutes. Next on the agenda, we have public comments, and I do have one request for public comment, and it is Katia Rain. Hopefully I pronounced that correctly. And just so you know, you have 2 minutes to make comments, and the timer is on.
Hello, my name is Katja Rain, and I'm here to ask the board to consider maybe a designated bus for Rose Park Middle School, just like Head and Megs has their own bus. My son is there and takes the bus, and it just seems like it would be so much more safe and convenient, and maybe way more children would take the bus if it would be a bus that would be designated, or at least would show up like right at the school and go to Central, and in the morning the same. I don't know what the difference is between Megs and Head and why they get those buses, but that's why I'm here, to ask for that. Do you have any questions?
No, thank you very much. We appreciate the comment.
Okay.
Are there anyone else requesting to make a public comment? Anyone else? Hearing no request, that closes the public comment section of our agenda. Thank you very much. Next on the agenda is the information on the items. Would any board member like us to pull any of those items out and have discussion?
Yes, thank you, Chair Williams. I just want to draw everyone's attention to the list of upcoming procurement projects. There's a lot of new stuff in there that we don't normally see. Just wanted to make sure everybody saw those opportunities.
Okay. Great. Do you have anything?
Yeah, I just second Jessica, and thank you for the staff. And I think we requested this to talk about things in the future. So thank you to the staff for actually providing that to us to take a look at. Thank you.
That's a good thing. Thank you both very much. And next, anything else on the information on the items? Hearing nothing else, next we'll move to consent agenda items. We have 2 items on that, which is the statewide furnishings contract and the quick ticket card purchase. Would any of the board members like to remove those from the consent agenda?
I did have one question on the statewide furnishing contract. In that, does that require any approval from the board, knowing that we presented the ability for the CEO to purchase stuff in advance?
Typically, these are going to be, so it's a blanket award under the state contract. Typically, they're going to be small items. We need a desk chair or a desk that would fall under the board thresholds. But if we did something that met a board procurement threshold, like there's potential, say if we were fitting out, a transit center or something like that, where that number got to be pretty large, then this would come back to the board.
Great. Any other questions? Hearing none, I'll call for a motion for approval of the consent agenda.
Motion to approve the consent agenda.
There's a
Second.
motion. There's a motion. There's a second. Any further discussion? Hearing no further discussion, I will call for the vote. All those in favor of approval of the consent agenda, say aye.
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 We have the consent agenda approval. Thank you all very much. And Ms. Dobbin, I am going to turn it over to you for operations and finance. And before I do, I just want to make a statement before we go further. I have to leave today no later than 3:40. So if I get up and leave, it's not because any reason other than I got to go someplace else. I'm splitting my
Felix
time
will
today.
be on by then, so we'll assume it just had to do
But
with
if
his
not,
report.
I just wanted to make certain I made a record that I had to leave at a different time today. just can't hang around. Okay, I'm sorry.
Thank you, Chair Williams. I'm excited for this Operations and Finance Committee session. We've got 3 action items today, starting with Patrick Hester's discussion on body-on-chassis bus purchase. Patrick, it's all yours.
Thank you. Hey, good afternoon, Board Chair, Vice Chair, members of the board. I'm here today to present MA 25046, which is the acquisition of 19 body-on-chassis buses, also known as cutaways or access vans. So these vehicles are vital to our fleet strategy in supporting WeGo Access service and also our fixed route service, providing service for several of our community circulator and crosstown routes in these neighborhood environments where it's tight to make turns and maneuver through these neighborhoods. These vehicles also provide flexibility and lower operating costs. And again, it's better maneuverability than our 60s and 40 footers through these neighborhood routes. So we currently operate 91 of these body-on-chassis vehicles. These are light-duty gasoline vehicles that are running the same 21-hour day service as our heavy-duty diesel vehicles. So they're getting some wear and tear, right, over the time and usage. So the useful life for these are 5 years or 150,000 miles. And to maintain state of good repair with our fleet replacement plan, the plan requires replacement of 19 to 25 of these annually. So this specific procurement is part of the 5-year authorization approved previously by the board, which allowed up to 125 vehicles to be purchased from Southern Bus and Mobility over the contract term. To date, we have purchased 19 of these cutaways off this contract. The third-party pre-award inspection that's conducted by Meritran was confirmed that it does comply with Buy America, and Meritran will also complete the post-delivery inspection once production is finished to ensure continued compliance. So with that said, to stay in state of good repair of all our cutaway vehicles, the staff requests the board to authorize the chief executive officer to execute a purchase contract for the acquisition of 19 body-on-chassis buses. These vehicles will replace similar vehicles that will have reached the end of their useful life by the time of delivery. The total sum for this purchase is not to exceed $4,540,525. This figure includes a base price of $217,250 per bus, aftermarket equipment to be installed upon delivery, as well as costs for related tools and training and spare parts. These vehicles will be acquired from Southern Bus and Mobility and made, excuse me, and Turtle Top. Funding for this acquisition is currently available through grants made for this purpose from Metropolitan Government of Nashville and Davidson County through a previous approved capital spending plan. Any questions?
Yes, thank you, Patrick. I do have some questions, if that's okay.
Sure.
So it says that we have a fleet of 91 body-on-chassis cutaways. Will that number ever increase, or are we just looking to replace to stay at 91?
We're at replacement right now. That number may change as the fleet plan develops.
It could. Some depends on access. It depends on the mix of trips, because we continue to see a lot of folks transition over to the access on demand. So I would expect some slow growth in that realm. And then what we ultimately do is we add more crosstowns and circulator routes, which choose how you move. We are looking at options for other types of equipment that would be a little heavier duty, particularly as we go to longer service hours. Okay. And that type of thing is sometimes we have challenges. For instance, these buses aren't super well suited for standees, and we're seeing on certain routes at certain times of day, we're having challenges with that. For instance, the 77, now that people are figuring out it's a pretty good way to get to a soccer game, sometimes post-game we're running into challenges there.
Okay, thank you. And then I don't think, unless I missed it, when we'll receive the buses?
We'll receive them within the next fiscal year, within this fiscal year.
Oh, great.
You may recall, going back 3 years or so, we had tremendous difficulty through the supply chain, particularly with the chassis. Mm-hmm. But that's pretty well ironed itself out. So, and these tend to be much shorter lead time than the heavy-duty buses.
Great. Yes, I do remember that. The back order and the never-ending wait. So that's all the questions I have. Anyone else have questions for Patrick Hester about the body on chassis purchase?
Yeah, thank you, Patrick, for your presentation. One quick question is, I know it says the useful life of them is typically 5 years or 150,000 miles. It just seems low. Is there other options, or is that what we basically have to deal with currently, and we'll figure it out as we move forward?
Let me go ahead and see.
Well, for access, it's probably the best option we have available. It's a pretty standard vehicle for paratransit. On the fixed route side, you know, again, we'll look at potentially something that looks more like our heavy-duty bus, but smaller. If you look at our 40-foot buses, there are manufacturers that do them in 30 and 35-foot configurations.
Thank you, Aron. Any other questions for Patrick? Okay, doke.
I would add one thing. One of the nice things about these buses is because it's basically built on a Ford chassis, one area of savings we have is typically you don't have to stock the parts inventory that you do for our specialized equipment. It's pretty much if you don't have something, you run down to Napa and get it.
Very nice. Thank you. Operations and Finance Committee makes a motion to approve M-A-25-046, body on chassis purchase, as recommended by staff.
I have a motion if there's a second.
Second.
There's a motion, there's a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, then I will call for the vote. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
The motion carries. You have your body on chassis bus purchase. Thank you.
All right, up next is on-call maintenance contract award with Patrick.
Yes, thank you. Yes, next presentation is MA 250-47 for on-call maintenance, repair, and systems. This initiative gives the agency flexibility to maintain, repair, and improve our facilities and infrastructure efficiently and effectively. So this program really ensures that we maintain our critical assets safely and reliably, deliver small projects, small to medium projects, both quickly without having to do full rebid cycles. And without lengthy repetitive procurements, such as pavement over and over again at different facilities. So to improve our schedule, improve our cost control, and strengthen our emergency service capabilities. So on July the 21st of 2025, our procurement department issued a competitive RFP through OpenGov, WeGo's website, and Transit Talent. And the intent was to pre-qualify experienced contractors who could respond rapidly to a wide range of facility infrastructure needs. Those things such as civil work, roofing work, electrical, mechanical, plumbing, of that nature. This indefinite quantity and indefinite delivery type of contract structure creates a pool of trusted contractors so that we can respond quickly. By the end of the proposal deadline of August 29th, we'd received 3 competitive and responsive proposals, one from BC Mason Group, one from MMP Services, which both of those are DBE firms, and another from Norwood Properties. All 3 firms demonstrated strong qualifications, reasonable rates, and a clear understanding of the scope of work. The Valuation Committee recommended to award contracts to all 3. All 3 of these contracts carry an overall DBE participation goal of 12%. So with that said, the staff recommends that the board authorize the Chief Executive Officer to enter into contracts with BC Mason Group, Norwood Properties, and MMP Services for on-call maintenance and repair systems for a total not to exceed authorization of $15 million over a 3-year base term with 2 additional year options. Each contract will receive $5 million contract, and these contracts are intended to support the State of Good Repair initiatives and will be limited to maintenance projects with task order budgets of $5,000 or less. And of course, all projects over $300,000 to board approval level will be brought before the board for approval.
Great, thank you, Patrick. Are there any questions about, okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I've got a couple questions, Patrick. Does each of these vendors specialize in a specific area? And was there a reason you divided this into three versus consolidating and just choosing one?
Yes, 3 gives us a lot of flexibility for emergency services and specializations. Not all 3 specialize in the same areas so it gives us a broad range of abilities to get work done. What's specifically probably pretty cool about this procurement is we have one contractor who's very good, who is building their team up. We have another one who's been on the contract before that was very successful. We have another one that's a good mid-range contractor. So we have a level of contractors that are highly qualified that can get work done and eager to get it done. Sir.
That's great.
The only point of clarification I would add is the contract authorization, because it's an indefinite delivery, indefinite quantity contract, is a ceiling amount, not a guaranteed amount. So they'll be paid based on actual task order work that they complete.
Okay.
So they have an expectation if you call them as needed, each one independently, and do you anticipate any competition with them based upon Steve's comments, like, oh, I'm getting more work, why didn't you call me? I mean, or is that pretty clear with them?
It'll be task order based, meaning that we'll put out a scope of work that they'll all bid on for that work, and if they're qualified to do the work, if it best price, and how responsive they are.
Oh, so they compete within themselves, but these are the only 3 that can compete for the work.
Correct, and we can still issue other solicitations if we'd like to.
Okay.
But this is for quick responsiveness and stay in state of good repair.
And not to have to bring it back through a competitive system each time. Gotcha.
Correct.
So it's sort of like TaskRabbit a little bit.
Yeah. You probably won't see much under these contracts, similar to the furnishings, that they're going to be kind of a little, we need somebody to grade and stone a back parking area or something, $10,000, $15,000 job kind of a thing as they go. They're capped at $500,000 per task. That's going to be pretty rare.
Right, because BC Mason won a few contracts last month.
Yeah, and they
Yeah.
won larger
For big
ones.
stuff.
Some of the other ones have won larger, so there's
Right.
nothing saying that a bigger project won't actually go out to a formal bid, over the course of this contract, where one of these firms would be the winner of a specific
Right.
contract, kind of along the lines of what this work is.
To give an example of some projects that we see coming down the line would be restroom restorations, improvements there at Central, waiting room improvements, things of that nature. Things for our staff, expansion for office, things of that nature.
Sure.
And the flexibility of those 3, all 3 of them have the capability of doing all those, or one or 2 will have the capability of doing one project and not the other ones or something?
Yes, so we're going to see that, especially with the company that's growing and that's back entered into the construction game. They're not going to be as suited to take on the larger projects that the other guys are.
It was great thinking to stack the contract with the different levels of contractors. It was
Sometimes you get lucky. We'll take it. Luck counts.
That's great. I'm going to recuse myself from nominating on this one because the owner of BC Mason Group, Brandon Mason, was in the TCLA, and I just feel really like we're friends, and I just don't want to, right, Margaret?
Yes, and I think it's good you're explaining why, so that's definitely appropriate. So somebody else, I guess, needs to make the motion then, if there is a motion on the floor.
Thank you, Margaret. Thank you, Jessica. Is anyone willing to make a motion for approval of the on-call maintenance contract award?
Not everybody at once.
I will make approval of the on-call maintenance contract.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Haynes. And do I hear a second?
Second.
And I heard a second. Is there any further discussion? And we did have very good discussion on this already. Any further discussion? Hearing no request for further discussion, I will call for the vote. All those in favor say aye.
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 And let the record reflect again that Ms. Dobbin did abstain from this vote. Thank you.
Thank
We
you.
have an on-call maintenance.
Yeah, we do.
Thank you.
I need one of those at home.
All right. Third and final board action item for the Operations and Finance Committee is a discussion about the passenger waiting shelter contract value increase. And this should be interesting. Denise?
Good morning, good afternoon, Chair, Vice Chair, and board members. Today I'm bringing forward item number MA 25048, which is a request to increase the value of our contract with Toller Manufacturing, which supports WEGO's ongoing stop improvement and maintenance program. I don't know if Gail remembers back in 21 during COVID, we did this over the computer. We awarded the contract to Toller Manufacturer to improve transit stops, including shelters, benches, and custom designs to enhance safety, accessibility, and comfort. The original contract was $1.5 million for a 3-year contract. It was later increased by $2.28 million, bringing the total to $3.78 million. The term was extended with 2 one-year options, and the current agreement expires in January of 26. To date, we've seen a 39% increase in sheltered stops compared to 2020. Many of our older shelters that have exceeded their useful life have now either been replaced or upgraded, and new shelters have been installed across several corridors through capital projects and our State of Good Repair program. These improvements have made a noticeable difference in both rider safety and comfort system-wide. Looking ahead, we're requesting an additional spending capacity under this contract to continue the work that's already in progress. This includes State of Good Repair, maintenance, repair, and replacement, and new shelter installations currently in various stages of design and construction. Staff requests board approval of a $3,028,493 increase to the existing Toller contract. This adjustment will bring the not-to-exceed value to $6,812,493, ensuring that we will have sufficient funds to complete planned stop improvements and maintenance through January 12 of 2026. We are in the process of a solicitation for these services, which will coincide with the expiration of this contract. Funding for the identified projects is approved annually with the MTA Capital Improvement Program. Thank you, and I'd love to answer questions if you have any.
Thanks, Denise. Appreciate that. So I have a few questions. So I like the look of the new shelters. I think they look great, and Toller's been doing a great job so far. But I see that the total sheltered stops are 327, and I was curious if there are going to be additions to that within this addition.
Yes, there are, I'm going to say at least a half a dozen, like I said, in process construction projects going on right now. I don't know if any of you saw the improvements at Rosa Parks and Monroe. We're getting ready to install a shelter outbound, I call it outbound, and that is a new sheltered stop. So there's quite a few in the works with engineering.
Through Choose How You Move, we'll be doing 20 to 40 new shelter locations per year.
Okay.
And then now a lot of these will fall into the next contract. And then as per Denise, we have a lot that need to be replaced. And part of this, even though it sounds like, well, January 26th isn't that far off, when you combine how long it typically will take us to get a contract in place after selection and then the actual lead time for manufacturing, we could be over a year before we have, new shelter stock from the next contractor, whether that's the incumbent or someone else.
Okay. Any other questions for Denise?
I got one question for you. How long does this extend the contract out to?
It just takes us to January. It really, it's to cover all the projects that are going on right now.
No
We've got
time
a lot
extension.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, we're pretty much at the limit of our time.
Yeah, we've got a lot of projects, and I don't know if you guys have noticed, the Gallatin corridor, we're now removing the wonderful deodorant sticks that Steve loves so much. So our plan is, So we're working on the Gallatin corridor right now, and so it's looking great. We're just kind of making it look a little fresh.
Great, that's great. Any other questions?
I know this might sound a little random, but I do want to say I was on West End not too long ago, and your staff was at one of the bus shelters, and they were doing just an incredible job of cleaning. And it was late in the evening with a lot of traffic and a lot of horn blowing, but I thought that they handled it with great patience, and they sort of stayed very, very focused on the work that they were doing, and it came out really nice. But I'm seeing it more and more, so I just think the way we're responding to the shelters and our cleanliness and supporting the community in that way is noticed.
Thank you.
Thank you, Gail.
I'll pass that on.
Yeah, thank you, Chair Williams. I think that's a great point. Their customer experience is paramount at this point, and the dignity and the comfort of waiting in a shelter that's clean is really great.
Yeah, that's really important to us.
Right. All right. Seeing no further questions, it is the pleasure of the Operations and Finance Committee to make a motion to approve M-A-25-048 as recommended by staff.
Second. So there's a motion and there's a second. Any further discussion? Hearing no further discussion, I will call for the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye. I really feel like we should have some pom-poms so we can really cheer on these amazing additions and projects that we're approving and that is being brought forth. So this has really been really great. Seeing the conclusion of the Operations and Finance Committee, Chair Williams, I will turn it back over to you.
Well, thank you very much. Good report today. Just let the record reflect that in roll call, Catherine Hayes is present. Mr. Thompson, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Thank you, Chair Williams. The NICE Committee has item number MA25049, Winter 2026 Recommended Service Changes and Equity Analysis. Felix, you want to give us the recommendation?
Yes, thank you, and good afternoon. I'll be presenting the Winter 2026 proposed service changes. I will remind you that this is the second cycle of service changes that we've done since the passing of Choose How You Move. And we are, again, like we did in the summer, we are focusing on improvements that we have the resources right now. Choose How You Move had a lot more surveys outlined in the program, but for many of those we need additional drivers, and you see that we are also buying the equipment, so it's going to take those resources to be available for us to implement some of those other changes. But right now, also, as we did in the summer, we are focusing on off-peak service, and that means weekday, during the midday, weekday evenings, and weekends. This is just a quick overview of all the different routes that we are going to be impacting with the improvements. I'm going to go over some of those changes in a little bit more detail. Well, I'll start with routes 3 West End and 52 Nolensville Pike. Those two routes are going to receive the same type of improvements when it comes to the frequency. They will be running every 10 minutes during the midday, also every 15 minutes during weekday evenings, and every 15 minutes during the weekends. So you see how we've been improving those headways for all of those different off-peak times. So 52, great news for soccer fans. You can get your buses faster to go to the game. I put my plug there, Steve.
Once we get you bigger buses on the 77, then it'll be salad days.
Looking forward to that, too. Next is Route 6, Lebanon Pike. This is probably the only major corridor that is not a frequent route. It is outlined to be a frequent route in Choose How You Move. But in the meantime, we have been trying to upgrade some of the service here. Back in the summer, we added every 30-minute headways or frequency during the day. And now we are proposing to extend the hours of operations Monday through Saturday until 12:15 a.m. Route 7, Hillsborough Pike. Again, frequency improvements during the evening, the weekends, every 20 minutes. And then the weekends coming every 20 minutes between 6 a.m. and 6 p.m. Route 34, Opry Mills. This route is popular with tourists and also a lot of people that work in the Opry Mills and the Opryland area. We actually, I don't know if you remember, about a couple of 2-3 months ago, there was a customer that came here and asked for more service on the 34 because when she left work around 10:30, it was not enough for her to get back to the bus. So we took note. So we're proposing to extend the 34 until 11:15 p.m. on a daily basis. Also frequency improvements. Right now it operates hourly on weekends, so we are improving that to every 40 minutes between 6 a.m. and 11 p.m. Route 41, Golden Valley. Great news here too. Besides extending the service on weekdays, we're also adding weekend service. These routes currently do not have any weekend service, so we're adding that hourly service between 6 a.m. and 6 p.m. Route 79, Skyline. This is a connector route servicing between Madison and the Skyline area on Dickerson Pike, north of Riley Parkway. We are going to add Sunday service, which this route currently doesn't have, and it'll be operating every 45 minutes between 8 a.m. and 6 p.m. And we're also doing a big push for improving Sunday hours. Typically, on transit, Sunday service is a smaller percentage of what it is on weekdays because the demand is lower, no school or people commuting for work. But Nashville being the type of town that it is and the type, we have entertainment here pretty much every day of the week. We know there's a lot of people that need that service, so we are putting an emphasis, especially on the frequent routes and some other local routes. We're going to start operating at 5:15 a.m. on Sundays. Route 14, Whites Creek, is going to operate until 12:15 a.m. And then we have several routes, frequent routes mostly, that are going to be extending service until 1:15 a.m. And of course, we extend or we change the access hours of operation to match the time where our fixed route operates. So we're also doing that for access. And then lastly, we are proposing a new Wiggle Link zone. This, as a reminder, Wiggle Link is a service where we operate with partners and provides first last mile access in areas of lower density where we do not have or very little fixed route service. So it's just about expanding access to transit. So we are creating a new zone in the East Thompson Lane area. It's going to be basically north and south of Thompson Lane and extending between Nolensville and Murfreesboro, kind of. With two transfer points at Nolensville and Thompson, Murfreesboro and Thompson, and connecting to routes 52 and 77. This is an area that we've been looking at for a while, and there's a Amazon Fulfillment Center in the back of B&A that we've had meetings in the past that they have, been asking for a fixed route. We can't really provide a fixed route right now, but this will be an alternative for Amazon to be able to bring workers at least to that facility. We had a public comment period between September 17 and October 7. We had 3 public meetings, 2 virtual, 1 in person. The public was able to submit comments either at the meetings or email, regular mail, phone, and so we had a very good presence in some of those. We also took the opportunity to present the Journey Pass program information for the public to get a sense of what it is and present that to the public, let them know about the program, which is still in a pilot phase. And you have a detailed summary of the public comments in your item. Every time we do public service changes, we do an analysis of the Title VI and equity analysis, making sure that we are complying with the requirements of Title VI and that we're not negatively impacting minority or low-income populations beyond compared to other population or white population. We have an overall positive increase in terms of the frequency and the service span for fixed route for those populations. So it's across the board. We're basically adding a lot more service to several routes. So this has a positive impact. We also have the Wiggle Link, the new zone. It shows an improvement of benefits of access for those population groups as well in this new zone. And again, not only for access to transit, but also access to opportunity like accessing the Amazon Fulfillment Center for jobs. So we also did a Title VI analysis for the Journey Pass program. But since it is in a pilot phase, that report will be included whenever it comes before the board for approval. But we found that there was no disparate impact or disproportionate burden for those low-income and minority populations as part of these improvements. So that concludes my presentation. The request to the board today is to approve the proposed winter 2026 service changes to take effect on January 6, 2026.
Thank you, Felix. Appreciate that. Definitely appreciated of the Route 6 that's out my way. So it's a little shameless plug there. But are there any questions for Felix?
I had a couple of quick questions. I love the increase in frequency. At the start of your presentation, there were several routes that were increasing frequency. And I'm just curious, when we do that, how do we measure the success of that? Is it both that we're hitting the frequency times, and then would we expect to see an increase in ridership and or satisfaction of riders? I'm just wondering how we measure whether we've kind of hit where we needed to with those increases.
And sometimes some of the things that lead to this is that we're seeing overcrowded buses. Sometimes, so it means that you need to add some service to be able to present some relief to those existing buses and how the ridership. Also, when you present, one of the factors between, it's always a dilemma between do you do more frequency or do you do more coverage? They say that frequency is freedom. And the fact is that in many of those routes, when you don't have to wait for...
Very helpful. And I just think the improved frequency is really a delightful thing for us to do when we can. My other question was tied...
If I could just add a couple, Catherine, on the frequency, it's also informally, I don't know how much research has been done on it, 15 minutes is kind of that demarcation point between having to rely on a schedule and just saying, I'll go out and it'll probably be along pretty soon. So it generates more spontaneous ridership. So where we put it in place, the frequency improvements, we do tend to see ridership increases. They come over time as people sort of discover it. You'll probably see a drop in what we call productivity, the riders per hour, because to Felix's point, if you're taking an overcrowded bus and spreading that load, between two buses, productivity will likely dip on a route. But a lot of the benefit of it, increasing frequency on these core routes that people overlook, is they also help the routes that haven't increased in frequency. So if we're running a 40-minute headway or a 30-minute headway or a 60-minute headway on a crosstown or a connector route, a lot of people have to take, more than one bus. And if you're trying to transfer from a bus that runs once an hour to a bus that runs once an hour, it doesn't take much to turn it into an all-day adventure. So when you're transferring, and I think it's a large part of what we saw up in North Nashville with the success up there, by essentially making the 22 run every 10 minutes, even though I might now have to make a transfer to the 22 where maybe it ran into my neighborhood before, because that's so frequent that, it's generating more ridership.
Really helpful. One other question, because Felix, you're hitting it out of the park for me today. I loved your comment about the new service, the WeGo Link Zone at East Thompson, and how that's going to help folks who work out in the Opry Mills, Opryland area. And then also your reference to the Amazon Fulfillment Center, or I may have it reversed. But the greater access for folks who are working and are trying to get home safely later on, and there's extended service. Do we... So I know you've had the public comment period where we've solicited comments about these changes, but do we go back and sort of communicate with the working population that the changes are implemented and when they'll be effective so they can really take advantage of it as soon as they can?
Absolutely.
Okay,
Once you approve these, which I hope you will.
I don't know. I'm thinking about it, Felix.
Our communications team has, all the information, and they're ready. I think they already have, information to go out as soon as the board approves that. But then, social media, our website, but also the customer care staff, and we put information on the buses and letting the people know, hey, be aware, changes are coming. These are the changes, and we try to put that as widely available as we can. And I forgot to mention also all this information about the changes is also available in Spanish.
Oh, good.
So we make it, make sure that others, at least Spanish population, but somebody needs it in some other language, we can make that accommodation. But Spanish is usually the most other language that people use. So yeah, there is a plan to go, inform the public, get them ready for January 4.
That's great. Thank you, Felix.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing I'd highlight is how some of these projects tie together. You'll notice on this East Thompson zone, the transfer point between WeGo Link and the bus, one of the transfer points is Murfreesboro at Thompson. You may remember from last month, you approved the $1 million bus stop project. So one of our criteria for citing those locations where, Uber or WeGo Link meet up with our system is that there's actually an improved bus stop, a safe place for folks to make that transition.
Thank you, Catherine. Any other questions? Felix, I got one question, and that is this covered under the Choose How You Move, or is this funded under something different?
Yeah, this is covered under Choose How You Move.
I'll make a blanket statement. It might not be 1,000% true, but pretty much every service expansion you see for the next 14 and a half years is under Choose How You Move.
All right, with no further questions, were there any other questions? Okay. With no further questions, Madam Chair, I recommend a motion to approve MA 2509 Winter 2026 Recommended Service Changes and Equity Analysis.
Second.
There's a motion and there is a second. Is there any further discussion?
Can I just say, I really appreciate the presentation, Felix. I'm always excited for your service changes updates, and I'm just thrilled to see all of the routes that are listed under these improvements, whether it's our, span of service or frequency. It's very exciting.
Yes.
You were pitch hitting today too, right? I thought you were filling in for Andy.
No.
Okay, all right, that's fine.
Well, good job, Felix. Always a pleasure to have you at the podium. With that, I think we have a motion and a second. Any other comments? Any other? Hearing no more, I will call for the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, there you go, Felix. Changes.
Now,
Increase.
time for the communications department to do their job.
Well, I will say our social media is doing a great job and making good stories and fun stories and celebrating everything about MTA WeGo. And I don't even do social media, but I do follow you all the time, and I've learned how to like you. So,
Chair Williams, did you see the one about the one WeGo posted of taking the bus to lead the TSU homecoming parade?
Yes,
that one was my
cool.
favorite.
Yes, and all our little sports icons go on the bus, and I love that. So, but they're doing a great job. So I look forward to all these changes coming out, and I will like them. All right, next, it's you, Steve. Mr. Bland, CEO report.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and good afternoon, members of the board. Two things. Sorry if it looks like I'm reading from prepared notes, but in my haste to get out of the office, I forgot to bring my written stuff, so I'm reading off the computer bit. And also, I will move through it very quickly because I will take it personally if Gail walks out on my report. So. It's going to be plenty of time left over for you. First of all, a few things to report. Since the last time you met, we did receive our second allocation of capital funding under Choose How You Move on Iran's theme. In total, for capital dollars, we were awarded this around $24.2 million. That'll allow us to do another round of fleet expansion. Felix alluded to the point that until we start getting more buses, it's hard to expand anything during peak hours. So you'll see an upcoming item in the coming months, essentially procuring more expansion buses. It'll provide additional funding for the front-end work leading to our new bus operations and maintenance center. So I know Jeff and I have had conversations about here, looking more toward real estate acquisition and those types of activities. That will be a big project and a longer-term project. And also funding under stop and station improvements, but particularly targeted at our airport presence and our airport stop. Probably we will get kind of a wave of expansion buses first quarter next year. So when Felix comes back for the summer 2026 changes, one of the changes that we're likely to be recommending is the airport extension of the 55 bus. And that means we'll want to make some improvements out there. In the same time frame as the additional Choose How You Move capital funding went through, we did submit our annual capital spending plan request to Metro Nashville Finance. And that is our core state of good repair. That is predominantly our grant matches for federal and state grants that require local matching funds, as well as our core replacement fleet purchases of both the body-on-chassis vehicles, as Patrick reported on, and the heavy-duty buses. So overall, we requested $29.3 million. That kind of goes into the mixer with schools and parks and NDOT and everybody else. So we should know in the coming months what that looks like. I heard a couple of folks, including Felix, allude to the Journey Pass program. I want to give kudos to Amanda and Zita in particular, who've been working hand in hand with the mayor's office and about a half a dozen of our social service agencies in Metro Nashville to continue the pilot. So far, it's going really well. We have well over 1,000 passes in circulation, predominantly through MDHA, but now we're also seeing MAC and some of the other agencies also starting in the distribution. So we're going to continue it in pilot mode for a bit, collect some data, and then ultimately be coming back to the board with a recommendation to make that program permanent. You probably saw some reference to it in Amanda's financial report, that essentially once that program's in place, we will take revenue from Choose How You Move, apply it into operating income based on usage of the Journey Pass program. But from a bottom line perspective, it's a net wash because essentially we'll be taking money out of the Choose How You Move subsidy line and moving it up into operating income. So having it in pilot mode for a bit more will not impact the overall budget performance. It'll just change where those line items are. This thing moves really slowly. Sorry, I read faster. Many of you, first of all, yeah. I'm not, other people are used to this. I like paper. I'm old. Want to thank Iran for representing the board and leadership at our first, hopefully of many, community days at the Dr. Ernest R. Patton North Nashville Transit Center. Beautiful day, beautiful event. This was another one of Zita's passion projects. So we had representation from the artists, a lot of community folks, elected officials, folks got to tour the center, hadn't seen it before. So really, really a nice event and a great way to start off really activating that space, which was the original intention, you know, when we did the design. Gail, you remember way back with those conversations. Let's see. Speaking of Taylor and our social media presence, she has been very busy today in Knoxville, Tennessee, as our rodeo team competes against the finest in the state. We may know who the winners are, but I do not know yet. They will get, everybody will get their awards, not just us. Other people get awards too. Careful, you'll jinx it. That's what I was accused of. I might have made a comment during the opening session a day or two ago, and I had operators like, you're jinxing us, you're jinxing us. But tonight is the awards banquet, so all sorts of things. Yeah. So that's always a great event. It's a good opportunity for our operators to mingle with bus operators from around the state, and obviously they generally show off pretty well. Let's see, activities I've done more. For a while, I wasn't doing a whole lot of public speaking, and lately I have been. So several of us, including Ms. Dauphin, participated on a Fox 17 mobility panel, which is always it's a live thing with Q&A, so it's always sort of a flip of the coin, but actually they did a very nice job. There was very good participation. Jessica, myself, Brad Fries from NDOT, Sabrina from the mayor's office, and Malik from the chamber participated, so I think that was a really nice event. Also, Nashville is growing in the number of other cities who are studying what we have done to try to mirror that success. In fact, earlier today, I was on a panel with folks from Oklahoma City, and then a week or two or three ago, Charleston, South Carolina was in town. So always great to do those events. And speaking of being on panels with Jessica, the Nashville Connector Program sponsored their TDM Summit. Yeah, festival was probably a bit of a strong word. But Jessica moderated a panel with Diana Alarcon from NDOT, myself, and our peers from Indianapolis on the experiences they've had implementing on Indianapolis's program. Flipping over to the RTA side, design work is continuing on the public improvements at Donaldson Station. That includes the development of 6-bay transit center, relocation of the access road, relocation of above-ground utilities, traffic signal and quiet zone improvements. We're at about 60%. And I'm pretty sure, I'm going to look at Debbie's face when I say this, I'm pretty sure I told her this, but I am going to have her do a presentation to this board in November. The RTA board's seen that it's an RTA project because it's their property. The RTA board's seen this probably, half a dozen times by now, but you all haven't had a chance to get a look at it. So in November, we'll make sure that that's on the agenda. And the other thing is we are slowly but surely, but now more quickly, moving toward a new park and ride facility in the city of Murfreesboro. Right now we're in the midst of, so we finally, thanks to the tireless efforts of Vince Malone, who's not with us here today, got acquisition of the property. And then our engineering and our project crews, about within 2 weeks of us owning the property, had the building knocked down. So we're now going through the permitting process with the city of Murfreesboro. That's all going very smoothly. So we expect to be out for construction probably right after the first of the year, I would think. So, and that's a fairly straightforward project. It's basically just parking, striping, lighting, security cameras, that sort of thing. So hopefully by the end of next year, we will have a brand new permanent park and ride. I think, Felix, I have lost count of the number of places we've had park and ride lots in Murfreesboro. Too many. This is it. We are putting our stake in the ground and we are staying. So, Madam Chair, unless there are any questions, that concludes my report.
Thanks. Does anybody have any questions for Steve? I have a real short report, not just because I got to leave, but just because. But so congratulations, Jessica. You're all over the place, and I know your breakfast is next Thursday, where you'll be celebrating and talking more about mobility. So well done, good job. Steve, good to see you on the circuit every place, sharing your wisdom and your expertise and your leadership to others beyond just Nashville. That's always good for us too. So it's great to see that. I think, Ron, thanks for being at the Dr. H. Rip Patton North Nashville Transit Center last week. I'm sorry I couldn't join you, but I heard it was amazing. So I just want to give a shout out to our drivers today. Traffic has been insane in Nashville. I don't know. It's so much construction. Every place, traffic is moving. Drivers seem to be a little more reticent to let you in. Drivers seem to be a little more in a hurry to go wherever they're going. I'm not so certain where, but it seems to be a lot of that impatience in our driving right now in Nashville. I don't know what it's all about, but I watched our drivers, and they are showing such patience, and they are showing such grace in some of these traffic moments, and it's so exciting to know they're out here competing, but they compete every day to be the best drivers for us here in Nashville. So I just wanted to say I see them, I notice them, and I know that what they're doing right now is not always easy. And it seems like, you know, people are just not as gracious in driving. My daughter was visiting not too long ago. She said, people blowing their horns like it's New York where I live. And I was like, well, I don't know what that really means, but I do want to say to them that I appreciate the good work that they're doing to bring home the gold tonight. I'll be excited about that. And that's all I really have for the good. Thank you, everybody. Good meeting today. So appreciate it very much. Anybody else have anything else for the good of the order?
Madam Chair, real quickly, point of privilege. I had the good fortune to go out to Myatt Drive and tour the facility with Steve and meet a lot of our team. It was clean, it was organized, it was streamlined. The people were fantastic. Very proud to see that facility.
That's awesome.
And Madam Chair, thank you for the privilege. And I want to send a shout out to the WeGo staff too. Doing the community day was a lot of fun. Took the family out there. My son thoroughly enjoyed himself. He ate, I think, way more than he should have, but but he thoroughly. And so shout out to Kia and especially Zeta and her team because they did a phenomenal job. I think everybody had a great time, and you couldn't pick a better weather day also. So
we are rocking and rolling. Yes, we go. We go where they want to go. Right? Is that how the tagline goes? Mind that. Well, with that, if nothing further, we are adjourned. All right.
This has been a service of the Metro Nashville Network. If you would like to see this presentation again, or for more information on this and other programs, visit nashville.gov.